Welcome to r/Offmychest, a place where people share their deepest struggles and secrets anonymously. Today, I want to get something heavy off my chest, something that's been weighing on me ever since it happened. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and about 8 months ago, I hit the jackpot. Literally. I won $750,000 in the lottery after taxes. It felt surreal at first, like a dream I didn't want to wake up from. For a long time, I kept the news to myself, not even telling close friends or family. I wanted to be sure it was real before making any big moves or sharing it with anyone. It was my secret, my safety net, and honestly, a little bit of my pride. At first, life seemed better. I could finally breathe easier, knowing this money could change everything. But the excitement was short-lived. I knew I had to tell my girlfriend eventually. She's been with me for 3 years, and I trusted her. But something inside me warned that this news could change everything between us. And, unfortunately, it did. Looking back now, I realize this secret I carried was the beginning of a storm. The lottery winnings brought more than just happiness. They brought out sides of people I never expected. I'm here to share my story, hoping it might help others who find themselves in a similar position. After months of keeping my lottery win a secret, I finally decided it was time to tell my girlfriend. We had been together for 3 years, and I thought she deserved to know. I chose a quiet evening at home, nervous but hopeful about how she'd react. When I told her, her eyes widened in surprise, and then a big smile spread across her face. She hugged me tightly, told me how happy she was for me, and said that we'd figure out the future together. At first, everything felt perfect. She was supportive, and I believed she truly was happy for me. But as days passed, I noticed little changes. She started asking more questions about the money, not just practical stuff, but more detailed ones about how I planned to use it. She began talking about expensive vacations, luxury cars, and big houses. I brushed it off at first, thinking it was just excitement. Then she started pushing me to invest in her business ideas. Suddenly, she was all about startups and opportunities she had never mentioned before. Her tone changed. It was more demanding and insistent. I began feeling uncomfortable but told myself I was just being paranoid. Still, I tried to be patient. I loved her and I wanted to trust her. But the signs were there, subtle but growing. I couldn't shake the feeling that her interest in me was shifting, focused more on the money than us. It was the beginning of something I wasn't prepared for. As weeks passed, the shift in my girlfriend's behavior became impossible to ignore. What started as harmless excitement about the lottery money quickly turned into obsession. She constantly brought up extravagant plans, designer clothes, expensive jewelry, and lavish vacations. It felt like the person I loved was disappearing, replaced by someone focused entirely on what my winnings could give her. One evening, she insisted I invest in her new startup idea. It was a business she had never talked about before, but suddenly, it was her passion project. She wanted me to put a large chunk of the lottery money into it immediately. When I hesitated, she became frustrated and cold, questioning why I wasn't being more supportive. I tried to explain my concerns, but she dismissed them. Her texts started to feel different too. Less about us, more about money and status. She even began planning social media posts highlighting our future lifestyle, with captions hinting at wealth and success. It was like she was crafting an image that depended entirely on my winnings. I felt trapped. The girlfriend I once trusted was now someone I barely recognized. I started second-guessing myself, wondering if I was overreacting or if she was truly changing. The more I resisted, the more she pushed, and the tension between us grew. Deep down, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it until one night when I stumbled upon some texts that changed everything. What I saw shattered the last bit of trust I had left and set the stage for the confrontation I never wanted but knew was coming. One night, while my girlfriend was out, I picked up her phone to check something. A harmless question, or so I thought. But then, I saw something that made my heart stop. There were messages between her and a close friend, and in those texts, she actually called herself my meal ticket. Reading those words felt like a punch to the gut. I sat frozen, staring at the screen, struggling to process what I was seeing. How could someone I loved so much talk about me like that? The shock was overwhelming, and my mind raced through a flood of emotions: hurt, confusion, and deep betrayal. It was like everything I thought we had was suddenly a lie. I kept scrolling, and the more I read, the more I realized she wasn't just casually joking or venting. She was openly admitting she was in this for the money, planning to use me to secure her future. My stomach churned as I realized how blind I had been to the signs. For hours, I debated with myself. Should I confront her now, demand the truth, or should I ignore it, hoping I was misunderstanding? Part of me wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. After all, people sometimes say stupid things. But deep down, I knew I couldn't ignore this. I felt trapped in a painful internal battle. Trust and love were clashing with harsh reality. I feared what would happen if I brought this up. Would she deny it? Would things fall apart? Yet, I couldn't carry this secret alone. The moment for confrontation was approaching. I had to decide if I wanted to save our relationship or protect myself. The weight of that decision crushed me, but I knew I couldn't run from it forever. The next day, I decided to confront her. I waited until we were alone, hoping for a calm conversation, but what followed was far from peaceful. I showed her the texts and watched as her face changed, first to shock, then guilt, then a desperate attempt to control the narrative. She started crying, tears streaming down her face, saying she didn't mean it, that I misunderstood. She claimed she loved me, and that those words were taken out of context. She tried to manipulate me with promises and apologies, begging me not to end things. But the damage was done. I felt a mixture of anger and disappointment boil inside me. How could someone so close to me be so dishonest? The person I thought I could trust was now someone I barely recognized. Every word of manipulation only pushed me further away. I reminded her of all the subtle signs I had ignored: the pressure, the obsession, the sudden shift in how she treated me. I told her I couldn't stay with someone who saw me as a source of money instead of a partner. The love I felt was overshadowed by the betrayal. Breaking up wasn't easy, but I knew it was necessary. I wanted to protect myself from more pain, more lies. I told her I deserved honesty and respect, things I no longer saw in our relationship. Her pleas and tears didn't change my mind. Walking away felt like losing a part of my past, but also like gaining a chance to heal. It was the hardest decision I had ever made, but it was the right one. Sometimes, love isn't enough when trust is broken. The breakup hit me harder than I expected. I felt lost and alone, questioning not just the relationship, but my own judgment. How could I have been so blind to the signs? The pain was deep, and trust felt like a fragile, distant thing. I found myself doubting every relationship I'd ever had, wondering if others had hidden motives too. It was exhausting and lonely. The betrayal cut deep, and for a while I withdrew from everyone, afraid to open up again. At times I felt ashamed for letting the money change things. I wondered if I was foolish for sharing my win with her, for trusting her at all. But slowly, I realized the money wasn't the problem. It was revealing the truth about who she really was. This experience taught me a harsh lesson about people and priorities. Money can bring out the worst in some, exposing greed and selfishness we might not have seen otherwise. It made me more cautious, but also more aware. Now I'm focused on healing and rebuilding my life. I'm learning to trust myself again, to set boundaries, and to remember that I deserve honesty and respect. The pain hasn't fully faded, but I'm hopeful that with time, I'll be stronger and wiser. After the breakup, I decided to open up to a few close friends and family members. I needed someone to talk to make sense of everything that had happened. Sharing the story wasn't easy. I felt vulnerable and worried about being judged. Their reactions were mixed. Some were sympathetic, offering comfort and advice. They told me to be strong, to never settle for less than I deserved. Others found it hard to believe the girlfriend could be so calculating, and some even questioned if I might be overreacting. It was confusing to hear different perspectives, but I understood that people saw things through their own experiences. Explaining the truth without sounding bitter or accusatory became a struggle. I wanted them to understand how deeply the betrayal hurt, but also that this was about more than just money. It was about trust and respect. I felt caught between defending my feelings and trying to avoid drama. Some friends encouraged me to focus on moving forward and not let the past define me. Others warned me to be cautious with future relationships, especially when money was involved. Their support helped, but also reminded me that healing would take time. Despite the varied responses, I appreciated having people to lean on. Their advice gave me strength even when I doubted myself. I realized I wasn't alone, and that made a big difference in my journey toward recovery. A few weeks after the breakup, I ran into my ex unexpectedly at a local cafe. My heart raced as we locked eyes. Neither of us said much at first. The air between us was thick with unspoken words and unresolved feelings. She greeted me with a forced smile, her eyes flickering with something I couldn't quite read. Guilt, or maybe manipulation. She started small talk, but I noticed her subtle attempts to guilt-trip me. She mentioned how hard things had been for her, how she never wanted to hurt me, and how much she missed what we had. Her words felt like a trap. I could see the old patterns trying to resurface, the excuses, the emotional pulls designed to reel me back in. Part of me felt torn. I still cared, but I couldn't forget the betrayal or the damage done. Inside, I wrestled with my feelings. Should I give her another chance? Could she change? Or was this just another game? I reminded myself of the pain and the reasons I walked away. The clarity I had gained over the past weeks helped me stay firm. I kept my voice calm but firm as I told her I needed to move on. I wasn't willing to go through that cycle again. She nodded, tears threatening again, but this time I walked away knowing I had made the right choice. Looking back, I realize how much this experience taught me about trust and relationships. I learned that trust isn't something to give lightly. It's earned and protected. When money comes into the picture, it can cloud judgment and reveal the true character of people around you. I also learned that love alone isn't enough. Respect, honesty, and genuine care are the foundation of any healthy relationship. Without those, even the strongest feelings can crumble. This situation showed me that some people might stay in your life for the wrong reasons. It's painful, but recognizing that early helps protect your heart. I've grown more cautious, but also wiser about who I let close. Money can be a powerful test. It reveals both the best and worst in people. But it's not the money itself that's the problem. It's how people respond to it. I've come to value the simple things: trust, loyalty, and kindness. Moving forward, I'm committed to surrounding myself with people who see me for who I am, not what I have. I've learned to set boundaries and listen to my instincts. For anyone going through something similar, my advice is simple: trust yourself. Don't ignore red flags, and remember that your worth isn't tied to money. True relationships are built on honesty and respect, no matter what. Now, I'm focused on rebuilding my life, both personally and financially. The lottery win gave me opportunities, but it also brought challenges I never expected. I'm learning to manage my money wisely and make choices that support my well-being. More importantly, I'm setting clear boundaries for my relationships. I won't let anyone take advantage of me or make me feel less than I deserve. This journey has been painful but necessary. I have hope for the future. I believe that healthier, more honest relationships are possible. I'm open to love again, but only with someone who respects me fully, not just my money. To everyone who listened and supported me, thank you. Sharing my story has helped me heal and reminded me that I'm not alone. Life is unpredictable, but with strength and self-respect, I know better days are ahead. This is just the beginning of a new chapter, one where I choose myself first and build the life I deserve. That wraps up today's episode of r/payback. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to subscribe for more epic stories.